Difficult conversations are usually rare, but they really cannot be avoided in the perioperative period. I felt that the perception about our learners' levels of confidence is highly variable and was looking for a way to capture pre-existing understanding of readiness for difficult conversations and tools to help develop communication skills. The use of empathy is a recognized, very powerful way to connect with patients, but structured training in the use of empathetic statements is rare. The capstone project presented here was designed to help trainees be better prepared for challenging and often emotionally charged difficult conversations. We used the OSCE format with standardized patients to provide the learners the opportunity to recognize own biases and practice empathetic statements. I created 3 simulation scenarios which contained at least one difficult conversation topic on patient information, which often will provoke bias in the perception of the learners. After each scenario, the debriefing would focus on communication skills and specifically the use of empathetic statements. Simulation sessions significantly increased the learners' recognition of their own bias. The pre-post analysis also showed that the learners' perception of their own ability to show empathy was very high to start with and possibly overrated. Poor communication can seriously impair patient satisfaction and our effectiveness in patient-centered care. The simulated environment provided a safe space for the learners to allow them to practice empathetic statements in the context of difficult conversations. While being in a hot seat is very uncomfortable, the residents found immediate feedback on practice very useful. The participants particularly found a value in their ability to share personal experience with similar situations during the training. There was a common misconception of sympathy versus empathy, and the simulation identified learners who would benefit from our practice. The activity can easily be modified to work for other specialties and levels of training. Curiosity is essential to this capstone project. Curiosity about the patient needs and showing kindness in the interaction to make sure the patient needs are met. The learners gained increased understanding of published models which help to structure difficult conversations and pitfalls to avoid. Empathy has been identified as an important aspect of the connection formed during the perioperative period. I'm very grateful the project introduced me to Ark Tarvinder, who generously shared her vast experiences with OSCE training and assessment. This curriculum creates value for the learners as they reflect upon their own and observed behavior. It creates value for the instructors as they prepare their learners for required training milestones and high-stake exams which use a similar format. Honesty turned out to be highest on my list when we did our VIA assessment in the beginning of the Kinetic 3 course this year. But when I looked at the images on the VIA website to use for the presentation, I noticed that they represent very different things to me. There's the one with the hand on the heart and the other with the mirror. I realized that honesty with the hand on the heart is the one I was thinking of because it represents to me being true to yourself and the strength to be consistent in the interaction with others. The mirror picture reminded me more of the truth which is visible to others, and sometimes what others see is quite affected by assumptions and context of the situation. Elements of this I could see in my project. It was obvious that learners were using often the same communication tools but got different results. Sometimes statements seemed rehearsed and did not match body language or the context of the situation. I did enjoy the ability to reflect with small groups on our challenge to connect in some of these often emotionally charged and stressful situations. I always feel that I learn as much with the residents from these discussions and find simulation very useful to provoke some deeper discussions about what is really true to our heart.